White potatoes, particularly when eaten with the skin on, have suffered from an undeserved fall from nutritional grace. Long maligned for being just starch or lumped into the same category as refined carbohydrates, white potatoes have often been unfairly portrayed as a food to avoid, especially by those following low-carb, ketogenic, or paleo-style diets. But when we separate science from dietary fads, a different picture emerges. In reality, skin-on white potatoes are a nutrient-dense, affordable, and versatile whole food. Far from being an empty source of calories, they offer important vitamins, minerals, fiber, antioxidants, and even compounds that benefit metabolic health, as long as they're prepared mindfully and consumed in appropriate portions. The notion that potatoes are unhealthy often stems from how they're most commonly served: deep-fried in oil, loaded with butter or cheese, or heavily salted. French fries, chips, and buttery mashed potatoes are a far cry from the boiled, baked, or steamed whole potato with skin intact. These processed versions often mask and undo the nutritional value of the potato itself. But a plain, medium-sized baked potato with skin is naturally low in fat, contains only about 160 calories, and provides an impressive range of essential nutrients. One of the standout features of white potatoes is their high vitamin C content. In fact, a single medium potato can provide up to 30% of the recommended daily intake of vitamin C, a powerful antioxidant that supports immune function, collagen synthesis, and wound healing. This is especially valuable in populations where fruit and vegetable intake may be low or seasonal. Potatoes also deliver a solid dose of vitamin B6, which plays a critical role in brain development, neurotransmitter function, and energy metabolism. Other B vitamins, such as folate and niacin, are also present in smaller amounts, contributing to the potato's overall nutrient profile. Potatoes are often overlooked as a source of potassium, yet they're one of the richest food-based sources of this vital electrolyte. A medium potato contains more potassium than a banana, providing over 900 milligrams in its skin-on form. Potassium is essential for maintaining normal blood pressure, proper muscle function, and heart health. Modern diets, particularly in Western countries, are often low in potassium due to reliance on processed foods and inadequate vegetable intake, making the humble potato an unexpectedly important remedy for this widespread deficiency. Fiber content is another reason to include potatoes in a health-conscious diet, particularly if the skin is left on. The skin of the potato holds much of its insoluble fiber, which supports regular digestion and gut health. Moreover, when potatoes are cooked and then cooled, such as in a potato salad or leftovers, some of the starch transforms into resistant starch. This unique form of carbohydrate resists digestion in the small intestine and functions similarly to fiber, feeding beneficial gut bacteria, improving insulin sensitivity, and helping regulate blood sugar levels. In other words, cooled potatoes can actually act as a prebiotic, supporting a healthier gut microbiome. The glycemic impact of potatoes, often cited as a reason to avoid them, is more nuanced than most people realize. Yes, when overcooked or consumed without fat or fiber, potatoes can have a relatively high glycemic index. However, adding a small amount of healthy fat, like olive oil, or pairing them with a protein or vegetable can significantly reduce their glycemic load. Moreover, the glycemic index of potatoes varies depending on the type: red, yellow, russet, the method of preparation, and whether they're eaten hot or cold. Context matters far more than the number on a chart. Potatoes also contain antioxidants and plant compounds such as flavonoids, carotenoids, and phenolic acids. These compounds help combat oxidative stress, which plays a role in aging and the development of chronic diseases. While these antioxidants are more concentrated in colorful potato varieties, like purple or red potatoes, even white potatoes offer modest protective effects, particularly in the skin. Beyond their nutrition, potatoes offer important social and economic benefits. They are one of the most affordable and accessible sources of calories and nutrients worldwide. In many food-insecure regions, potatoes play a critical role in supporting dietary adequacy and preventing malnutrition. Their versatility also makes them a culturally adaptable food, whether boiled in Eastern Europe, baked in North America, or incorporated into hearty stews and curries in Africa and Asia. Importantly, potatoes can support satiety and weight management when included thoughtfully in meals. Because they are high in water and fiber relative to calories, they are surprisingly filling, ranking among the highest on the satiety index, a scale of how satisfying different foods are per calorie. When compared to highly processed grains or sugary snacks, potatoes can actually reduce overall calorie intake and curb appetite, rather than promote overeating, a reality often ignored in anti-carb rhetoric. In summary, white potatoes with skin are a prime example of how nutritional value can be lost in translation. When viewed in isolation or in their processed forms, it's easy to misunderstand them as unhealthy. But when prepared simply, roasted, boiled, or baked, and eaten as part of a balanced meal with protein, fiber, and healthy fats, potatoes are anything but empty calories. They're a nutrient-rich, naturally gluten-free, whole food that supports cardiovascular, digestive, and immune health. The stigma surrounding white potatoes is not based in science, but in misapplication of diet trends and fear of carbohydrates. It's time to return them to the table, not as a guilty pleasure, but as a smart, satisfying, and surprisingly health-supportive part of the modern diet.